Good morning and welcome along to our weekly live stream series from Burnley, the Youth Academy Challenge. We are back today and it's a pretty big one actually. It's our final 4 games of our second season at Burnley and we are hoping desperately that today we will be able to get Burnley somehow back into European contention. It is almost impossible already. I mean, in terms of 6th place, we are 11 points off with 4 games left. Liverpool have got 5 games to get 2 points. And if 7th is enough, then again, we're 9 points behind and only 4 games left. So we have to win all of ours and hope Chelsea don't win any, because they've got a much better goal difference as well. So it's a little bit difficult, a little bit tricky. But fingers crossed we can pull something off. So thank you for coming along as always, for joining this morning for the live stream. If you're looking forward to it, please chuck a thumbs up on the video. Come and get involved down in the chat. Let us know what you think of the football world at the moment. Of course, it was transfer deadline day yesterday. The National League started on Saturday. Well, I know there's a few National League fans in the house. We obviously had another set of EFL and Premier League fixtures. Probably the most bizarre set of Premier League fixtures you will ever see. And then, of course, we've also got plenty of news for the international break. And FM21's around the corner. So what do you think of that? What are you looking forward to? There's so much going on. So fingers crossed you're looking forward to it, because I certainly am. I can promise you that much. So thank you for coming along. We're going to get into the first game in a minute. As we mentioned last week, it's actually a pretty horrific run-in we've got here with Burnley. We're playing 4 games and we've got absolutely monstrous sides. We play away to Manchester United, who are second, away to Arsenal, who are first, away to Tottenham, who are third, and at home to Villa, who are 16th and fighting for their lives. So it looks like, unfortunately, this is going to finish with mid-table mediocrity. I'm not sure whether we're going to carry on another season. It'll probably depend at the end of this. And I have got something off camera that I've been playing with a bit. So I'm hoping we could maybe do a season with that. But with 4 weeks to go, I am conscious of time. Charlie, thank you for popping along as always. Arisa Ben Anik, are you able to sign him on this save? I would imagine he retired some years ago. But we'll see if he's a staff member, because he might be available for that. Let's have a look. Ben Anik is not a staff member, so he retired from the game completely, I'm afraid. Of course, here we're in 2031, so he's probably about 43, but unfortunately retired from the game. What a shame. But yes, heroics in the Cliftonville save from him and many others. If you have missed that one, please do go and check it out. It's going brilliantly. Your feedback's been incredible. And I'm so grateful you're enjoying it as much as me, because I'm having the time of my life with that. It's a really niche one. I was quite worried about doing it on the channel. But the uptake, the following, the support for it has been incredible. Craig, I knew that was going to be one of your questions today. Thoughts on Gunnosaurus getting the sack? I mean, I don't want to make it too much of a serious issue, because I know it's a light-hearted one generally across the social media platforms, but a bit like the redundancies to the staff after the players had taken a pay cut to ensure that hadn't happened last season, and after some of the signings and the new contracts and that this summer, to then say you're saving money for someone who's earning, what, 15, 20 grand a year? To pay people who are on 250 grand a week. I don't understand it. Every business has to cut costs. I get that. Every business has to work efficiently. But I would imagine that the mascot at Arsenal over the years has brought in a lot more money than it has cost them. The amount, I mean, I saw a lot of the former players last night talking about the junior gunners and things like that. And of course, the first thing they see is the mascot. It's the same at Luton when we go there. We sit near the family section. You see the same thing. It just seems to lack class, and a lot of people have said that already, but it really does. And it's not the best area to improve efficiency, unfortunately. But hey-ho, it is what it is. The world is throwing up very much unusual turns this year, so we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. But we're going to go and get into this first game against United. We have got Phil Richards doubtful, so unfortunately he's going to be out with his hamstring strain. And although we got back into good form at the end of the last episode, one, it's a bit too little too late. And secondly, with the top 3 coming up in the next 4 games, it's not going to mean much. Look at Old Trafford, hosting 91,500 now. It's been expanded again. That's incredible. It's probably the highest I've seen at an English ground. Let's have a look, see if there's anyone else to bring into the squad. I don't think there is. So we're going to leave it as it was the last game. We played really well in the last one last week. So hopefully we can do the same again today. Wickham first side not scoring their opening 4 games. Yeah, I mean, there was a tight offside call against Luton. And to be fair, if we're being completely honest, they they haven't been awful. Apart from the one game, they've been pretty solid defensively. I saw they signed, was it Josh Knight from Peterborough? I'm going to have to go and check that now. I'm sure it was Josh Knight they signed. Yeah, he came in. So Josh Knight was from Leicester on loan, but was he was at Peterborough last year, wasn't he? He's 23 years of age. Yeah, so he was at Peterborough last year. They were hoping to get him again, but he's gone to the Championship. So he's a good defender. Did Wycombe sign anyone else? I guess not, because the EFL window doesn't close to the 16th, and that'll probably be the busier one. Doesn't look like anyone else came in yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong, if there's any Wycombe fans along, but I don't think they're going to be in big trouble this year. I really think they'll improve. I think Gareth Ainsworth will pull something off and he'll adapt them quickly. He's always improved them, and even if they go down, he'll make sure they put up a fight. Charlie, yes, Wycombe were time wasting at half-time. The half-time break in the Luton game was 23 minutes. And then when they came out for the second half eventually, then Gareth Ainsworth had about a 2-minute chat with the referee about something nonsensical to waste even more time. And the referee, being Graham Scott from the Premier League, you would have thought would be wise to that. But I've seen him live at Kenilworth Road before, Graham Scott, and in that one. And I've got to be honest, he's probably my least favourite Premier League ref. But that's separate. They all do a hard job, so I'm not going to batter them too much. But fingers crossed we can get going today. It's all looking good at the moment. And hopefully we'll be able to get a victory. So let's pick our lineup for today. It's quite an interesting one really. And I'm not quite sure how it's going to pan out, because there's some difficulties here. We have got our strongest 11 available, but it's not perhaps what you'd expect. And fingers crossed next time out, we'll be back to normal again. So there we go. Let's have a look at our lineup for today. We're all looking all right at the moment. We've got Summerskill in goal, Bonner and Vimmer the fullbacks, with Flauhaut and Simpson at centre half, Vaughan on the wings with Edmonds, and then Xavier and Bartle in the middle with Harrott alongside Balogun up front. Fingers crossed we'll be able to do it. Let's get into the first half here. It's going to be an interesting match. And at Old Trafford, we'll be hoping that United put in the performance they did in real life. But somehow I don't see it happening. Into the first game we go. Let's start what's inevitably going to be a 4-game horror show this morning. I'm pretty sure it's not going to get any better than the start of the game when it's 0-0. But there we go. We're back in now. We're into the first game and we're just waiting to load up. We've got youngsters on the bench, the likes of Lowry and May. Matas is there as well. Nathan Mullen too. The experience of McNeil. The quality of Fabio and Ruthven defensively. It's just which ones are going to be needed. And I've got a feeling it'll be shoring things up more than anything. But there we go. We'll come back to it as we get into the game. Taking a long time to load this morning for some reason. Not sure of the reasoning for that. Fingers crossed that's solved by FM21 anyway. But let's go and get into it. It's going to be difficult. And I've sort of resigned myself to 3 defeats at a minimum. I think we'll probably end it after this season. And we might have a go at something else. And maybe even just talk through the FM21 plans. There's plenty to go on there. And there'll be lots of votes on the community page over the next few weeks. So please do check them out as well. As we've got the teams warming up. Manchester United v Burnley. And I've got a feeling we're going to get absolutely battered. But we'll wait and see if we're right on that front. Let's have a look at the lineups then. We've got Manchester United's to bear in mind too. Hopefully it won't be a disaster. It is a 4-4-2 for the home side. Kai Havertz at Manchester United in this universe. That's certainly unexpected to say the least. 400 grand a week. He's been there 7 years. Wow. That is a lot of money. No other real players in there, but lots of them that we recognise from the head coach series. So let's just get into the first half and see what the damage is. I don't expect it to be pretty. I don't expect it to be enjoyable. But hopefully, it won't be disastrous. Where you're going to have to see here. This is going to be a really interesting first half for us. I'm not sure how it'll work out. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to get a victory. But we'll try our best. Tunnel interview. Bragging rights are important. We're slight favourites, of course. And into the first half. What's the damage going to be? I'm actually going to drop to balance because on positive, I'm not confident of a result at all. I've got a feeling it'd be pretty desperate if we did. So Charlie, if you're a Brentford fan, are you starting to worry a bit? Probably. Yeah, I mean at the start, I think you two had them in the playoffs still, didn't you? As Manchester United have got the lead within 3 minutes, Havertz has set it up. But I think you would probably worry a bit because, I mean, I didn't think they'd be in the top 6. I don't know if I put them in there in the end. I'm sure I didn't because I thought they wouldn't be in there. And I think I said, didn't I, that they would regret not signing Johnson Clark-Harris directly because he sort of suited their style more. He's more like Ollie Watkins, who again had a brilliant game for Villa. But the Ivan Toney one, it's a different style of football. It's going to take a while to adapt. The way they collapsed against Preston defensively was very worrying, considering defensively there's not been much overhaul at all. All of the change has been in attacking areas. Balogun's in, he's at the post. That's a shame. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, the Brentford scenario. I don't think they'll be panicking just yet. But there's certainly reason to panic because it didn't look pretty at the weekend. We've got to be honest with that. Craig Dagenham for promotion, well, we've all predicted them to be up there, haven't we? Or two of us have to be in the playoffs. So they're a very good side. They've signed incredibly well and they've got a few former Luton players and they've built quality around it. I mean, their transfer window, them and Wrexham, has been sensational. Wrexham looked really good at the weekend. Dagenham looked okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident with my Wrexham title pick now. Yeovil were ropey against Kings Lynn, I've got to be honest. Notts County obviously beaten by Dover, who two of us had to go down. And then Notts County, you had as champions, Craig. They've sort of let you down a bit, to be honest, haven't they? Half time, no, it's only 1-0 here. We've not actually done too badly since that early goal. But we don't really look like winning. We don't look like getting a goal. We don't look like scoring. And unfortunately, it means that our dream will be over. So we're going to have to go positive and try and get on the front foot. Because if we don't score a goal, we're out of the European hunt. It's as simple as that. And here we come forward on the left with Kevin Wimmer. Marcus Wimmer, sorry. I'm thinking of the old Spurs centre-half. Long ball forward from United. Flauhaut heads away to Xavier. Switch to the right to Vaughan. Into the penalty area. Gets to the byline. Oh, it's brilliant. And it's blocked by the keeper and the second by the centre-half. It is brilliant from Jack Vaughan on the right. And he just couldn't quite find the final product. Kings Lynn, £15 for a programme, Charlie. I knew that would pop up as well. Probably one of the most disgraceful things I've seen. £15 for a programme. It's probably as much as their admission would be if they had fans in. It does worry me. I mean, don't forget, they're losing a lot of money to their usual streaming when they're having the game on TV. Because the TV money's not a lot in comparison. But they played really well on the pitch. They looked a threat. They matched Yeovil for the large part when they weren't giving them too much respect. They played really good football. They've got a good manager in Culverhouse. And it just sort of took the gloss off knowing that the programme's 15 quid. They're fleecing fans. It's not a particularly affluent area of the country. I know Kings Lynn's a nice place, but Norfolk generally is not a hotbed of financial fantasy, is it really? You know, so it's a little bit bizarre, but we'll keep an eye on it. I'll be interested to see what it is next week. If it's a special edition one-off, we'll let them off. If next week it's more than the standard £3, we'll be having words. As Vinicius Xavier finds Harrop, Balogun's in here, has to equalise. We're going to regret missing all these chances. We've had so many. We could be winning this game. Leon Lowry's going to come on. Edmonds will be replaced by McNeil. And right back, I don't know. Bonner's struggling physically, but there's not much quality on the bench. I'm going to replace Bartle with Matas. It's the usual sub, but it's the only one that's pretty much like for like. So yeah. Wopke, good morning. Thank you for coming along. Appreciate you joining us this morning. Good to have you in, as we are unfortunately just about to blow our European chances, I think. We're doing really well in this second half, but we cannot get that goal. As Bonner finds McNeil into Jack Vaughan. It's cleared away again, and Manchester United will probably hit us on the break. We've still got a few men back. We're not overcommitting. But it looks like the European dream's gone. We'll be 9 points behind with 3 games left now. And unless all of the ones above us, particularly Chelsea, lose everything, we're unlikely to finish above them. In fact, it will be impossible. So it would have been crucial to get points here. It's not the case. And I feel like this season, unfortunately, is going to peter out. It's not what we were looking at or hoping for at the start of the season. We were crossing our fingers for a Europa Conference run. And we were hoping for 7th in the league. But it's not going to happen. We've lost to second place United despite giving them a good fight. And next up, in 4 days' time, it's the champions Arsenal. Or the soon-to-be champions Arsenal. That's not going to make it any easier. I thought your name was similar, to be on the wrong account. I thought it was you. I didn't want to say it just in case. It's good to have you along either way. Forest manager looks like he might be off. Who'll replace him? I don't know. I mean, to be fair, it's probably... We knew he was going to be off. I mean, I actually predicted it start the season, didn't I? They'll start poorly, he'll get replaced, and they'll have momentum to reach the playoffs. The replacement in terms of manager is going to be a good question. I'm not sure who it will be at this stage. However, I think we have to bear in mind that there's lots of good candidates out there at the minute. I wouldn't be surprised with Forest, knowing the owners, if they went for someone just to get the job done today. You know, like a Pulis or an Allardyce, that merry-go-round. There's managers that get teams out of divisions, and they're two of them. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's one of them. Alternatively, they could go the other way. They could find a young manager. But probably their best candidate for that's just come to Luton as a coach, Chris Cohen. So that's a strange move for them. It's just the timing all smacks a bit. Yeah, the performance second half was really good at the weekend as well. They really knocked at the door for Bristol City. They had 21 shots and should really have got a point at least in the end. But unfortunately, they're not clinical. And despite having Graben and Lolly and the likes, they were wasting chances. I was like, how does he suddenly know my real name? I can assure you I'm not that intelligent. But there you go. We've got there in the end. So I don't really know what to make of these last three games. I think our aim has to be to stay in it, keep morale up so we can beat Villa at home. We've got to make sure we get a top half finish. As high as possible gives us more money. But I'm not sure. I feel like it's petering out a bit. I think our best chance at a trophy was this year, while we still had the 3 stars in. And that seems to have gone. So we'll contemplate after today whether we're going to do a new series for one season next week, or whether we'll carry on with this one until FM21. But even then, we probably wouldn't get through a whole season. We've only got 4 weeks after today. And then we'll be live streaming from the new game. So, it'll be interesting. Let's keep up with the chat. Are there any new features on FM21? So, they haven't really announced too much yet. There's always loads of features, and they do it in different ways every year. I'd be surprised if it's not social media dominant this year. But there will be loads of new features as always. And even if not, just to get the game out is a pretty incredible achievement this year. With the later transfer windows and everything else, then what else can you say? It's pretty incredible. I'm just having a look to see if it's got it. Yeah, so features will be up revealed from early October across social media. So yeah, they'll come out across this month. It'd be interesting to see what there is actually. I'm not sure what to expect from this year's game. I don't know if it'll be quite as intense as previous years, but if they can get something out, then fair play to them. I mean, look at us for lockdown. How many people have been watching FM channels? How many people have been playing it? For me, it's been a lovely takeaway from NHS work at the weekend to have a little break for it. So, can't fault the game at all. It's a brilliant one. And I always say this, and a lot of creators do, the value for money you get. Most people probably play hundreds, if not 1,000 hours on the game. To do that for 30, 35 quid, depending on where you get it, is pretty incredible, really, isn't it? But there you go. Thank you for everyone popping along as well. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It's good to have you here as always. I know the Tuesday morning's not convenient. We say it all the time. But unfortunately, it's still my only day off work. So we'll try and find a way around it for FM21. Do a few evening ones. But at the moment, Tuesday morning it is. Yeah, I've got to say, Wapos, the same as you. I was quite surprised that it was coming out in November. I was so sure it'd be December or January time. But obviously, getting out before Christmas is a huge plus for them. It's going to have more feature updates than FM21, which is basically a rip-off. Than FIFA 21, sorry, which is basically a rip-off for double the price. Pro Evo decided not to make a game, so Football Manager, for me, saved the day. And I'm looking forward to it. I'll be doing votes. I'll be announcing the saves over the next couple of weeks and what we're doing. Might let you have a little vote on the live stream series because I've got a couple of ideas in mind and I'm not sure which one to go for. So we'll see what the general appetite is. We'll do a vote probably in the community post and in next week's live stream. Once I can work out how to set all that stuff up, of course. Charlie Craig said he saw McVitie's Jaffa Cakes pineapple. Thoughts? Disgraceful. Jaffa Cakes are made to be in one flavour. I relate it to M&S. They used to do lemon and lime. They used to do raspberry maybe, one of the berries, and then like a summer fruits or a passion fruit or something, and they don't work. They're not as good. Jaffa cakes were made initially with that flavour because that's the best flavour for them. So, you know, when it comes to food and drink, 90% of the time, the original's always the best. Now, I know you can have diet and whatever, but the flavouring wise, the original's normally the best. Look at hula hoops, crisps, original's the best. Look at most table sauces, the original's the best. You get all the fancy ones, but when it comes down to it, everyone goes back to ketchup, brown sauce, barbecue, don't they? It's the basics. You can have a million different salad dressings, but none of them are topping salad cream. It's a very easy argument. An original Jaffa cake's the best, and I will not be persuaded otherwise. Yeah, Wapod's your spot on there. Pizza as well. There is no reason for pineapple to be on pizza either. Even when you go to a restaurant, they're offering it with random stuff now. It's bizarre. Everything seems to want to have fruit in it. You know, savoury food shouldn't have a fruit compote with it, with the greatest respect. I don't really understand the thoughts behind it, but hey-oh. There's plenty of people who want to do that, isn't there? Craig, thoughts on Crash 4? Yeah, I haven't had it yet. I was going to put it on my Christmas list as a to-do. I got because obviously I'm Xbox, so last year the 1 to 3 came out. I got about halfway through it and then got a mixture of stuck and scared, so left it out. But there we go. Crash 4 will, if it's hard for other people, it'll probably be impossible for me because I'm not an expert at that sort of stuff. I was always, growing up as a young kid, I was always a Spyro man anyway. We're getting towards this Arsenal game now. Be interesting to see how many are fit actually for this one. As we play the soon-to-be champions, I'm imagining we'll probably give them an easy 3 points, but it is what it is. With 3 games of the season left, we're just trying to make it as easy as possible. Did I see their offer for Marcus Vinicius? Is that our Marcus Vinicius? It can't be. Oh, so there's plenty of them about, so it's possibly not that one. Might be that one, who's a very good player. But there we go. Arsenal away. How many points clear are they? 3 points clear at the top with a game in hand. I'm assuming this is their game in hand. Chelsea haven't played yet. So as it stands, we can still match them. But goal difference is going to be difficult. Everybody's fit. I'm going to bring Lowry back in because Balogun was poor in front of goal last game. I don't think any of the others are fit. Phil Richards has still got a knock. Harrop played okay. We'll keep him in. And aside from that, it'll be the same 11. Although Vimmer, he's down to 6.7. So should we replace him with Ruffin, who's more defensively minded anyway? Graham Ruffin in at left back. There's the other change for the day. Thoughts on Boris wanting people to go to the cinema, yet fans can't go to football stadiums? I mean, I think there's a common theme across the board. I'm not going to get too political because, you know, I want to have a light, relaxing laugh here. But it does affect football and it does affect the thing that I'm passionate about. So I have to mention it. And the thing that generally has been added up, and it's happened from March onwards, it's affected my work in the NHS, I'm sure it's affected yours in the supermarket, is that none of the rules add up. Everything's that this is the rule but. And once you start putting in a million rules that don't correlate with each other, you take out people's responsibility to take common sense. And unfortunately, it's led to a situation where now in this country, everyone is either of the view that it's the scariest thing in the world. Like, we've got little old ladies who need to come to the surgery, who have to have things done that are so important for them, and they're petrified to come out the house. And then on the other side, you've got people who really don't need to be there, who don't need to be mixing with vulnerable patients, who are saying it's a hoax, I'm not wearing a mask, and trying to barge their way in. And no one seems to have that balanced view of, yes, it is a threat, it is a dangerous situation. It's not something that has to be a disaster if we're sensible, if we social distance, if we wear a mask. We could probably go back to the majority of our normal activities within reason. It's just there's not really any balance, and I find that quite difficult because either end of the spectrum, it's not the only thing to worry about in the world. It shouldn't take precedent over standard care for patients for me in an NHS setting. It shouldn't stop us from going to football matches at 20% capacity if we can do so indoors, because that's when people get frustrated. It's not that we can't go to football matches. People would accept that if you couldn't go anywhere, like was happening in April and May. But now, people can go to the cinema indoors, sitting 3 seats apart to watch the football, but they can't go to the stadium and do the same thing. And it's absolutely astounding when you get to that. But that's all I'm going to say on it. Is it the same there? See, I didn't know. I just assumed in the UK we seem to have this view that it's been dealt with the worst in the world. And I guess it's probably because in Europe we've had the highest death rate, which again depends on how it's reported, and the worst economic drop. So I guess those two things combined are never gonna leave you favourably in the end, are they? But as long as everyone stays, or as many people as possible stay happy and healthy, then that's the most important thing. Health comes over money. Health comes over, I know it's related to having a job and mental health, but we just have to try and take the positives from it. Otherwise, if you sit reading the news all day, watching the news and whatever, you end up being disappointed or depressed. So my advice would be to be sensible, be cautious, but within the reason and the rules, do as much as you possibly can. Charlie, Masters Football back on Amazon. Craig's excited. I don't have Amazon Prime, so I'm not. But I'm delighted to see it making a comeback. We still lead at half-time through that Ashley Harrop penalty. And this could be a big shock to the title race and an unbelievable moment for us. It's probably too late for Europe. We're relying on some clubs failing financial fair play. But to be brutally honest, it's not a bad situation to be in that we're beating Arsenal. Kieran Tierney's still in the side and they've nearly scored there. We managed to survive it as it is, but that was tense. I was just seeing if there were any other real players in there. Hakimi's at right back. I think that's it though. On the bench, Haaland, Rinken, there's a couple in there. And now they come through Arsenal. Barla's in. Good save, Summerskill. There's a lot of threat here from the home side. And we're going to drop to balanced, I think. Try and hold on for the victory because it is relentless attacks every single minute. El Basel on the right-hand side. Chance to cross it in. Correa's there. Falls back to the winger. Into Correa. And it's a great save by Summerskill yet again. He is earning his wages today. Wapos here, it's come back up now. It was even worse than March, April when it was supposedly the worst. And only because people are not keeping to the rules. And the government is relaxed and are making exception to all the rules. And that's the thing. If you make an exception in one area, make it in every area. Because then people will generally use common sense. They'll say, well, you're letting us live our normal life. So then we will follow the guidelines. Whereas once you get to the stage where people are frustrated and they're saying, well, why can I do this here and not this here? They're saying, well, it's not a threat here, is it? So I'll go and do whatever I want there as well. Of course, in terms of the numbers for case rate, it will be higher because the testing, I don't know about over there, but in England it was shambolic in March and April. I mean, you couldn't get one. Even key workers, whatever, you couldn't get a test even if you had symptoms. And you were advised not to unless you went into hospital. You wouldn't have them for mild or moderate symptoms when you were at home. So it does make it a little bit harder. Now the big problem is everyone can generally, bar a week or so, could have got a test. But the results are taking nearly a week. And we've had a disaster with the track and trace app. And it's all gone a bit pear-shaped. But who knows? Who knows what will happen this winter? You just got to keep smiling because there's still plenty of things to look forward to. Albeit we can't go to the stadium. We can watch football on the TV. We're about to have a penalty here though. And that's going to worsen my moods. The tale of the penalties. Here it comes, left-footed from Arsenal. It is Correa to step up the centre forward, and Summerskill can't produce his heroics again. 1-1 with a quarter of the game to go. Let's make changes. Vinicius Xavier replaced by Matas, who will swap with Bartel. Vaughan will be replaced by Lowry on the right, with Balogun going up front. And hopefully my voice won't disappear completely, as Nathan Mullen comes in the number 10 role. I will catch up with the chat in a minute. Let's just make this tactical change with Lowry. He'll be an inside forward on attack. We'll go back to positive because we're getting overrun since the goal. We'll just see if we can nick one from somewhere. Most of the lads are motivated. There's nothing to be worried about. It's been a good performance in any other stretch. Charlie, Anik better than Sluga. I'm not having that. Sluga's been very solid since sort of February onwards. I know against Nottingham Forest he did our heads in, but since then he's been good. Yeah, with the test, and that's the thing, is that's the bit that's not covered in the media, is yes, you should be cautious, yes, you should be worried, you should be looking out for yourself, taking all the precautions, wearing a mask, sanitising your hands, whatever else when you're out and about. But the sense of overriding panic is there are other things that are still important. It's the thing I find hardest working in the NHS. It's the thing that is hardest to convince people. But your diabetic care, for example, is more important that you come in and have that done, because potentially, if you're following the rules for other things, you're more likely to have complications from your diabetes being out of control. And that's where the clinical risk is a difficult thing to mix up because of patients' worry. Unfortunately, we've blown this one as well. Arsenal take a 2-1 lead. Let's go back to football chat. Short sleeves and gloves should be straight red. I would only ever wear gloves with long sleeves. It can be accepted at levels where, as we let in another one, at levels like Sunday League and amateur football where you don't have a choice of what shirt you've got. But in a professional game where you've got the choice of do you want to wear short or long sleeves, if you're going to wear gloves, you need long sleeves, because if your hand's cold, your arm's going to be cold. I mean, it's not hard, is it? Well, tell the lads they did well. To be honest, that was a decent performance against the Gunners, but it's not enough, and we are now officially out of the European race. The highest we can finish is 8th place. We've got Aston Villa at the weekend, the only game we should really be winning. They've got themselves out of contention for relegation. They're 6 points clear of Wolves with 2 to go, and the goal difference is 21 better, so they're not going to go back into that. Oh, I just realised it's my birthday in game. A birthday to forget. How old am I here? I should really be able to work this out. 38 years old today, and I have managed to lose 3-1 to Arsenal. I've got a feeling the one thing that's not replicated in FM is how quickly you go grey. I've got a feeling I might be a bit greyer than that by 38. I'm probably already a bit more so. Since November, it's escalated quickly. Let's put it that way. Thank you to everyone that's coming along this morning. I really do appreciate you joining me. Please do put a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It does make such a difference, as we've got 2 games left of this second season with Burnley. And depending on the outcome, we'll decide whether we're going to carry on for another year or whether we're going to start a new series, just sort of 3 or 4 weeks to get us through. It is an option. I've been going for something off camera, and we could have a go with it. So we'll have a look, and we'll make a decision at the end of the morning. Congratulations. Yeah, great birthday, wasn't it? Have you ever been successful playing long ball football on FM? We tried it at Wickham and it didn't work. You did. I did have big success with it actually in FM19 with Torquay. In the early days, I played a standard 4-4-2. I had a target man alongside big man, little man essentially up front. I was going for crouch to foe in non-league. 2 wingers playing wide play. It probably wasn't quite as long ball as you think because it was targeted, but we were taking goal kicks aiming for the target man. We were getting it wide as quickly as possible and getting crosses in the box. And the target man scored 15-20 goals, as did the other man. I guess in Dorking we didn't do something too dissimilar, but we had our wingers further up the pitch. So we basically played a front 4, 2 sitting midfielders and a back 4 that was defending. Paul Konchesky, the rocket left back, by the way. And then we just had 2 strikers, 2 wingers. All pumped forward, knocked the ball up. The 2 wingers got on the knockdown from the striker, get it in the box. One as an inverted winger, one as a normal winger. And then a poacher and a target man in the box. It worked a treat. There we go then. Arsenal got themselves back in title favourites position with that win. Phil Richards might be back. I'm not quite sure. It's a shame to lose him to injury. He's a key player. If you're not sure if you want to continue with Burnley, maybe you can take over another team within this save. That's not a bad idea, actually. We'll have a look at the end of the Premier League season for what other jobs are available. If not, we'll go to the other save I've been doing off camera. I haven't started the season yet, but I've done a transfer window. And we can just do it as a sort of one season fun thing. Because let's be honest, in these mornings, we don't really focus on the FM. I only really talk about it when there's like the first few minutes when the people are just streaming in and coming into the chat. Otherwise, we're largely talking football, foods, music, whatever else it might be, sport generally. French Open second week this week. That's another one to keep an eye on. Phil Richards, he is lacking match practice. And the French Open tennis, by the way, has fans in. I know France have increased their guidelines again, but they've had limited spectators in, which has been great to see. So we've dropped down to 11th place now. West Ham have won, which means we're not going to be able to catch them either, other than goal difference. So who are their last 2 games? They've got Liverpool at home and Wolves away. So, I mean, Wolves are going to be scrapping for their life. They've just gone up to 17th. But I don't know that we're going to be able to even get 8th. Stoke have dropped down to 7th as well. They've collapsed late season, which is a bit of a shame. But it's not too bad. Morgan Gibbs-White there, just having a look. He's become a super player. He's gone on loan to Swansea in real life, hasn't he? Scored the winner the other week. Manchester City have guaranteed themselves a top 6 finish. They'll probably finish 4th looking at the season. Sluga is the best. Sluga number 1. To be fair, after an initial start, he's learning a language now. He's getting comfortable and he's been really solid so far this season. As he was, bar one mistake, I think after lockdown last season. So, yeah, it's pretty promising to be honest. And because he's getting involved in Croatia and making a few appearances there, his value's only going to go up, which is a great thing. He's the sort of keeper with his distribution that a Premier League side will go for. I believe that at some point. So it could turn out to be a really good bit of business. And probably one of the only positives left from Graham Jones' legacy, to be honest. Who's now obviously coaching at Bournemouth, which is another interesting story in itself. Just trying to get a few of these kids in the under-23s. They're not going to feature in the last 2 games of the league season, so we might as well get them football. We might as well give them an opportunity. And we might as well give the under-23s manager a treat. He can play as many as he wants them. So there we go. He's got 13 players to choose from. Charlie, can Luton finish mid-table? I'm not sure. It's very easy to get excited by a positive start. I mean, we've played Wickham, who many people consider to be the weakest side in the league. And we've played Barnsley, who I consider to be the weakest side in the league, who I said would finish bottom. We lost at Watford, but they're going to be right up there. And I know it's the rivalry and all that, but 1-0's not a disaster in the grand scheme of things. And at home, we've looked better this year, which is a promising thing. We did beat Derby, didn't we? But let's be honest, if they'd had their shooting boots on, it probably would have been a draw at least. And Derby started the season woefully and are just picking up now. So I don't want to get too excited by those results. We're not going to be anywhere near the top. I still think we'll be closer to the relegation zone than mid-table. But that start gives me complete confidence that we'll stay up. I would still like to see Carter Vickers coming on loan though. I know they've signed Lockyer, but we've still only got 3 centre-halves. And Carter Vickers is such a difference maker. And if Tottenham are signing Joe Rhoden from Swansea, my only worry is will Carter Vickers go the other way? Because that would be a good deal for Swansea. But I'd like to hope that then Spurs will definitely be letting him go. It's just what they do with him. So let's see how Ruthven got on against Arsenal. He played okay. Brought home to a lower side now. So let's get Vimmer back in. Let's go attacking at home. Phil Richards is back. He'll be on the bench for Andy May. And aside from that, we'll go with the same 11. I don't know really whether to go Lowry or Balogun, because both of them have been absolutely useless. Balogun the last 2 games not done a lot. Lowry was awful against Arsenal, so I think we have to bring Balogun back in. I don't know if it's the right decision, but let's go for it. 2 changes made, and it's back to the lineup for the United game. Thank you to everyone coming in again. Do appreciate it. Please chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It's great to have you here on a Tuesday morning. A few weeks to go till FM21. And then I've got a feeling we'll be streaming a lot more regularly. As well as having back to 2 full-time series, of course. We will be. The one thing I will give away in today's stream is that, as I knock my headphones off the side, apologies for the background noise, is that we will be back for FM21 with the head coach. It's the main staple on this channel. To be honest, of the 4 years I've been doing this, and I say 4 years because FM18 we did the last 2 months, FM19 a full year, and now FM20 a full year. Of the 4 FM cycles that we will have been doing this, the head coach I didn't do at the start of this year. I left it a few weeks, and it had a pretty negative impact on the channel, to be honest. So I think we would have to do that one to start with, and then we'll have one other exciting one as well. It looks like we've got the lead, 5 minutes to go to half-time. And thankfully, we've managed to get on top. Rob Simpson scoring the goal. Balogun's corner assisting it. And everything looking good at the moment. Charlie, you've asked, is Vinicius the one that you had in real life? No, it's not. It's a regenerated player. I'll just confirm that, and I'll see if that other Vinicius is in the game, actually. So, our Vinicius Xavier, he is... No, so he's a regen. I can't remember what his name is. It's Carlos Vinicius, isn't it? Carlos Vinicius striker, that sounds about right. Oh, he's 36 now, so not really good to judge. Is he the same one? Yeah, he is. Benfica 2019. I mean, in terms of his... I know his physical stats would obviously drop off at 36. The other two still look very good. So that suggests he's a good player. And it's quite a similar skill set to Kane's, actually. I wonder if Mourinho's going to go Vinicius up front, Kane, Son and Bale in behind with the two sitting midfielders. Because that could be deadly. And I did say in one of my other mates' group chats that my tips that we were asked who our top four would be. My second place was Tottenham. I had Liverpool to win it, which doesn't look quite so good after the weekend. But I said, and Harry Redknapp said it last night, and he got a bit of ridicule for it on Sky Sports. That the only team that can break Liverpool or City this season in terms of winning the title, in my opinion, is Tottenham. Mourinho's a serial winner. He's got a really good side there. And they've invested well. Bringing people like Matt Doherty in there, them sort of under-the-radar transfers. I mean, Højbjerg was magnificent at United. And I know United were awful. They had an hour with 10 men. But he's an enforcer. He's that type of player that lots of sides forget to get. Arsenal didn't have one for years. They went so long without it. And they've signed one this summer as well. United don't really have one because Matic is aging now. He's not quite at his best. And they haven't replaced him. McTominay's not really that player. They're trying to make him it. But he's more of a box-to-box midfielder. So I just think that's going to turn out to be a really good pair of signings. And I know the other ones have got more behind them. Vinicius, a striker they've been looking for a long time. Bale's obviously big money, big name, sorry. Reguilón at left back, good player, good attacking fullback, good sort of reputation coming from a big club, and he was much coveted in the summer. But I feel like Højbjerg and Doherty are the two that are going to be underrated. Joe Rhoden I've seen play for Wales a couple of times at youth level and senior level because they show them on S4C. He's a good centre-half. They're really impressing me with the way they're doing the business. And I know I'm going to sound stupid if they fall off a cliff, but I think this could be a good season for them. We beat Aston Villa. Let's keep an eye on the title race for the rest of the day. Well, United have lost, Arsenal have won. Arsenal are champions. How often have they done that? That is their first title, or back-to-back titles, after not winning it for 26 years. Pretty incredible, to be honest. Fair play to Arsenal for that. And fair play to us for getting the victory. We put Villa potentially back in a relegation scrap. But it's Tottenham Hotspur away on the last day of the season. They're in third place. Just seeing if they've wrapped up the Champions League yet. We're up to 9th. We can still catch West Ham, who have got Liverpool in midweek. And then they've got their weekend game. But Tottenham are on 72, so they haven't yet wrapped it up. They've got a midweek game, though, against Stoke. So if they win that, hopefully they'll be resting some for our game. Now we'll have a look at what jobs are available. We'll see if we're going to carry on with this series or if we go to something different then. Spurs have made good signings, didn't have a chance to do well. Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about signing superstars. It's a clear strategy. And you mentioned United there, and it's something that's been well talked about. But with Tottenham, and it's sort of the argument that Redknapp was making as well, and he knows transfer windows pretty well, no matter what else you say about him, is they've signed two good players for near enough every position. I know they haven't got the centre-half yet, but if Rhoden can be their fourth, they've got Joe Hart in, who's a solid keeper. You know, he'll get his confidence back in Mourinho. He'll play some cup games. They've still got Lloris, who's back in form under Mourinho, probably playing the best he has for years. Certainly since France's World Cup run. In defence, they've got two good left-backs now, two good right-backs. Aurier, for me, last season was a weak link, particularly playing every game. Often did okay in the big games, but then sort of fell apart in other ones. So having Doherty in, who's that solid, consistent performer, will make a difference. The same at left-back. Reguilón's the start. They've got Ben Davies, who's solid. Dyer, he's dropped to centre-half. You've got Alderweireld, who I'd imagine would be his partner naturally. Sanchez as a backup. And then hopefully they'll have the young lad Rhoden as well. I mean, Winks didn't get a game in midfield. They've got Højbjerg, they've got Sissoko, they've got Winks back there as well. Dele Alli can't get a game. You know, they've got such quality in that squad. Bale's not made an appearance yet. I just feel like it's going to be a really, really good season for them. I've got so much hope for what Tottenham are going to do. Manchester United annoys you though. Yeah, I mean, the transfer business was appalling. The performance at the weekend was appalling. But you sort of see, like when Bale joined Tottenham, you saw the lift it gave the club and the players. Even though he wasn't in the squad straight away, they had a point to prove. They had people competing for them. And United don't have that. There is no strategy in that transfer window. They never, at the start of the summer, if you'd have said, if you'd have asked them if they were prioritising signing Cavani and Telles perhaps, I doubt he would have been their first choice for left back, but perhaps on that list. But they focused on 3 positions and they haven't signed players in 2 of them. And they've signed 2 other players in random positions. Van der Beek's not getting a game, and let me tell you, he's similar to Pogba and Fred, and he's pretty similar to Bruno Fernandes. He's that sort of player, plays a more attacking role. I know he can play in the 6, but then why isn't he? Why isn't he there instead of Matic? Why isn't he there instead of McTominay? Just seems a bit strange. Charlie, have you ever been sacked on FM? And if so, how many times and where? So yes, I have been sacked. In FM20's head coach series, I got sacked by Charlton. They got taken over by a tycoon. I joined the club when they were 14th. I got them into the playoffs. Then we started the next season after about 6 or 7 games. I was 12th to 14th. Players were just settling. They weren't having it. They sacked me. They pulled the trigger. In FM19, I got sacked by Hemel Hempstead, of course, quite famously at the start. I then got sacked by Dungannon in the 2nd season as well. But then recovered, started again from the bottom with Slough and worked my way up. So yeah, it started with disaster in FM19. In FM18, I didn't get sacked. I mean, off camera, I've been sacked loads of times over the years. But on channel, they're the 3, I think. I don't think there's any more. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I don't think I've been sacked by any others. I've been threatened with a sack for other reasons as well, like talking to other clubs and things like that, against the club's wishes, for declaring interest in jobs, but I think they're the only 3 sackings I've had on the channel so far. Let's go and get into the final game of the season. No changes apart from Phil Richards in for Ashley Harrott. Vinicius Xavier, if we do carry on playing his last game for the club, he's not homegrown, doesn't meet the quota. But let's encourage the lads, get into the first half and see if we can shock Spurs. Did they wrap up 3rd? They did. So Spurs are already in the top 4. It doesn't look like there's much else to play for there. We'll be keeping an eye on West Ham. If we win, they're behind. So if we can win, which we're not because we're about to be behind. Oh, it's off the line. How did that not go in? If we win this one, we will be in 8th place. And all it takes then is a team to fail financial fair play. But I don't know that that's going to happen at this stage. So I think it's a little bit optimistic to presume. But we'll wait and see. We're always happy to be pleasantly surprised. As Tottenham go wide to Tavares. I didn't check to see if there were any real players actually. I'll have to have a look. Because we're going to be on a job hunt after this. That's the most important bit. Tavares into the box. That doesn't look good. And now it isn't good. Anjorin's a real player. We had him at Chelsea in the head coach. He scored the goal and we're 1-0 down with 15 gone. We've been outclassed. We've been outplayed. And we're just going to demand more. Eddie Nketiah up front for Tottenham. I keep forgetting that. Sure, we mentioned it earlier in the season. Nketiah, of course, an Arsenal player in real life. Hover at right back. He's, of course, at Wolves on loan from Liverpool. They've got Ramsdale in goal from Sheffield United last season at Bournemouth. And look who they've got on the bench. You tell me that Football Manager doesn't predict real life well. We've gone 2-0 down to Anjorin. We can ignore that for now because we know we've lost this game. On the bench, they've got a 33-year-old Joe Rhoden. And he's a very good centre-half. So if you ever doubted if he was good enough to join Tottenham, and if you doubted that FM wasn't realistic, there you go. Joe Rhoden joined FM in this series. Joe Rhoden joined Tottenham in this FM series even. He only joined 3 years ago, and he's played for Arsenal as well, but that's besides the point. Rhoden is here. Christopher Ayer, the the Celtic young centre half, he's there as well. Lots of players to be interested in. But with 10 minutes to the break, we've basically ruined our European dream. We've ruined any chance of getting 8th and sneaking in on a financial technicality. It's all gone wrong. Whoppers, you've only ever been sacked once. That's not bad. When I was playing in Malta and was about to get relegated with the team, they fired me and lost the rest of their games. I do love that, like when we did it with Charlton. And then we went up to the Premier League with Burnley before Charlton got promoted. I know we had to go to League One with Salford first, but at least the last 2 years when I've been sacked, I've seen that you've had to rebuild, which is good. But yeah, I haven't been sacked so many times. This year, I've actually found this year's head coach a bit easy, to be honest. We got to elite clubs despite a sacking, and we got some big jobs early on without deserving it. We got a rise from Halifax to Scunthorpe despite doing nothing to go up a league. And the same really with Scunthorpe to Charlton. But you can't complain, can you? In FM19, I couldn't get an elite club to save my life, so it probably needs to be balanced out somewhere in the middle. Tottenham have gone 3-0 up on the stroke of half time. I mean, it's damage limitation now. West Ham are 3-0 down, which is annoying me even more, because we could have nicked 8th place today. And if any of that top 7 loses financial fair play and we miss out and West Ham get in, I will be furious. We've told the lads it's terrible. We've got back into the second half. But I'm now looking forward to what jobs are on offer. If not, we will be managing a new save next week, and I'll announce which club that will be as we get there. But Tavares in on the left-hand side, into Volpe, it's 4-0. Wow. This has been awful. I mean, we've lost the Arsenal and United games, but we've not been that leaky across the board. And I'd imagine with the trajectory we're going here, we might not be far from the sack in this one. Bartle finds Richards though. Can we nick one back? Balogun's running off him. Went offside though. To Vaughan on the right. Crosses in. That's the goal. A cross from Phil Richards. Vaughan's shot come cross. Hits the far post and goes in. We are going to replace Richards because he's tired. Just coming back from injury. Xavier's had a shocking run. He's going to be replaced by Mataz. And Wimmer will be replaced by Ruffin. Or no. Balogun replaced by Lowry. Let's get the homegrown youngster on. 4-1, a lifeline maybe, but I think probably just a consolation. Yeah, I think that's the thing you mentioned, Whoppers. The key thing this year is that we got coaching badges from our clubs earlier. We've made 3 subs and picked up an injury 1 minute later. Oh, you couldn't write it, could you? Edmonds will go left back and we'll just try and cope. In this save, because we went to Charlton, who were Tycoon owned, we went to Scunthorpe and Halifax in the Football League more quickly, is that we got coaching badges on board. So even though from season 3 in the head coach FM19, we just went like that in terms of performance. We did a brilliant job at Slough. We then went up and did a good job in the Football League. We weren't getting coaching badges quickly. Because we'd have those 2 sackings, clubs weren't taking a chance on us. They didn't want to commit to us longer term. We were getting shorter contracts. We were getting clubs that were normally a bit more cash strapped. And that did cost us. As Tottenham are in again, is it going to be 5? Oh, we've got a penalty, I think. Craig Pawson's going to VAR and a penalty's given. Of course, next year we're going to have to worry about the running over to the screen 100 times. But as it is, Tottenham have a chance to make it 5. Angerin is on a hat-trick and has the penalty. A star for us with Chelsea in the head coach. Will he be a star here? Angerin v Summerskill into the corner. It is Tottenham 5, Burnley 1. What a way to finish the season. What a way indeed. You've got to laugh. Charlie, are you going to do a job search in this episode? Yeah, as soon as this game's finished, we're going to go over and look for what jobs are available. If there's none appropriate over the next week or so, then we'll start the new series next week and just do a short 1-year thing up to FM21. I make it, we've got 4 live streams before the beta. But if we can find a job here, then certainly we'll do something fun with that. We've lost 5-1 though. Nothing to be particularly enjoyable at the moment. Charlie, vote. Yeah, we'll have a vote if there's enough jobs that are good. I've got a feeling you're a bit optimistic, thinking there might be more than one. And of course we'll wait just in case everyone fails financial fair play, but I don't think it will happen. So let's initially, I know that most of them won't happen straight away. We'll go and have a look at the job search and then we'll move forward afterwards. He looks a good player, Samba, but he's 19. We can't sign him for this one. So, job centre, managerial jobs, Lazio's there. Look who the favourite is, Charlie. It's your favourite player in the world, Lionel Scaloni. What a hero. Brilliant manager, brilliant player. Did a great job for West Ham in that FA Cup final in 06. Schalke, that's not a bad job either. Solbacken's made a recovery. In England, Chelsea, Lionel Scaloni's the favourite there as well. He's the most wanted man in the world, Charlie. This has backfired for you, hasn't it? Lionel Scaloni, the hero. So Chelsea is, of course, the job. This is the step we made in the actual save. We went from Burnley to Gladbach and then to Chelsea. So we know nearly all the players there. So I'm not going to take that job because, one, we won't get it. It's a 4.5-star job. And secondly, it'll be a bit too similar to the head coach. Schalke I'd certainly be interested in having a look at. Lazio likewise. Let's see what other ones they are. So, Tottenham's precarious. That one I'd be interested in. Why is it precarious? He's finished third with them. Finished second last year. Third this season. Didn't he win the Carabao Cup? No, he didn't. No, he did. He won the Carabao Cup against Liverpool. He's in the Europa League final against Dortmund. I don't really know what more Brendan Rodgers can do there. Seems to me he's done a pretty incredible job, but we'll take it if it comes up. So let's apply for the Schalke job. Let's apply for the Lazio job. I finished 12th in Serie A, but I haven't been in Italy this year. It'll be an interesting one. Their key man is Bittman. Good player. We'd be happy to be with them. Any other jobs that are very insecure? There's a couple in France, but I'm not a massive fan of that league. We'll declare our interest in the Tottenham job, see what happens. They'll probably laugh at us, but it's worth a go. We've managed Barcelona in this universe already in the head coach. Villarreal, Hertha Berlin, there are some interesting ones. It's just whether we'll get any of them really, because our reputation isn't quite so big. It's 3.5 star, we've got the maximum licence. Who are we wanted by? We're wanted by Chelsea, the only job that I don't want. But they're a 5-star club, so if Chelsea want us, hopefully some of these others will take us. Charlie, you take that back about Scaloni. Never. What a player he was. I always remember him on Deportivo, like in the early days on ITV Champions League. Him, is it Fran, Diego Tristan up front? Oh, West Ham had him as well, didn't they? But yeah, they're the players I remember. I always liked him from that. Board budgets for next season, 78 million, but we can't spend it. We can't spend it here because we're obviously doing something different. It is quite bizarre though. Charlie, Feyenoord. Were they on there? Did I miss Feyenoord? Job centre. Was it precarious or insecure? See, that one's only insecure. Normally if they're just insecure, they don't end up coming. But yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that if it came up. Love to go to the Eredivisie. Didn't we play them? We played them in... Am I making it up? I thought we played them in the Europa Conference for some reason. I must be going insane. Feyenoord, Antonin Ray's a key player. Yeah, he's a good pro. I'd be happy to go to Feyenoord. I'd quite like to go to Holland or Italy, to be honest. The Tottenham job would be too good to refuse, but we'll just go through and see if we can get a job, really. It's going to be easy going because we're just pressing continue so we can talk football and other stuff. We'll see if anything pops up. What are we going to do for next season? Let's avoid a relegation battle. Expected a little more realism. There's such a lack of ambition here. Oh, we've had to say you can avoid relegation, but they're better than that. Brings you down, doesn't it, when the team just wants to talk about negatives. We're going to go to US. That'll bring in a bit of money. But we won't be here next season. We've decided we won't be with Burnley. Well, I thought you might like the sound of Feyenoord. I mean, that's a 3.5-star team. If the job becomes available, I'd imagine we'd be among the favourites for it because that matches our reputation. The facilities at Burnley have been downgraded, which doesn't help. Let's see how they're looking now. Anything changed? When does the Dutch season finish this year on here? Right, so that's why. They're in a European semi-final. So if they get into Europe, I'm guessing the manager will keep his job. And if they don't, he won't. Benfica's becoming possibly available as well. That's a big job there. Getafe's job's now available. Where have they been? 9th, 9th and 8th in the Spanish League. Is the season finished? 1 game left. They're going to finish 8th though. They're not the biggest club in the world, but they've got some good players here. So Mo is their key man. Not as good as his value suggests, I wouldn't say. Johnny, it's not great. How are they worth 40 million? It's not a job I'm interested in. There's some bizarre events going on in this one, but we will find a job eventually. Thank you to everyone that's coming along again. Good to see the number of viewers creeping up. Normally does around 11 o'clock. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're still here enjoying watching us go on a job hunt. Not something we normally do here, but I'm sure we'll find one. We haven't managed to shift Scaloni or Solbakken as favourites for the various jobs. There's not much else there. I'll tell you the other thing we could try, because I haven't done it before. So we could go to one of the really bottom tier clubs. Because look at Carlisle. They're in the National League North, a football league club by trade. And we've got obviously a Continental Pro licence and a massive reputation. I'd love to see how quickly we could turn someone like that around. And hey, look at him. He's not a National League North player. What are they doing stuck down there? He could play in League One. Right, I might have had a change of emphasis here. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. Because Carlisle have dropped down to the lowest possible league. They've been there for 3 seasons now. And this is the first year they've finished outside the playoffs. They've got a wonderful 18-year-old striker who's wanted. And they'll probably have to sell financially. Let's have a look at some of their other players. Jack Moore. Oh, he's rubbish. There might be a one-hit wonder, that team. Might have just answered our own question here. Munro's 21. Oh, wow. TJ Bramble's a real player. Not very good here, though. Okay, so bar Declan Shields, the rest of that team is atrocious. So we might have to write that one off before we start it. I mean, it'll be a test of our ability. But I don't know that it'll work out. Because insecure finances, we're not going to be able to improve. Declan Shields will be sold. With the clubs he's wanted by, he will be sold. Particularly if they're struggling financially. Let's see what it says. Wage bill's 18,000. I mean, that's too much for a club at that level anyway. Facilities. Still at Brunton Park, but now an all-seater. Average facilities. I'm tempted. I really don't know though. I mean, we can apply. We'll get offered the job and then we can work our way around it. I mean, Burnley might sack us, asking why are we applying for a job 5 divisions lower. But that's part of the fun, isn't it? We'll declare our interest in Feyenoord as well. Oh, we've just got to hope one of them pops up. Oh, there you go. Look, Feyenoord's. Yeah, they might only come once or twice in a manager's career. Let's go for it. Apologies, not talking as much today, but I'm focusing on trying to get a job here. Charlie Barrow. No, that's too... It's got to be a great club to do. Yeah, a couple of people saying Carlisle would be alright. I mean, I'd imagine we'll get offered that job. But I would still pick a Feyenoord, Lazio, or possibly even Tottenham above that. Because don't forget, whatever we do here is only going to be a 1-season wonder. Arsenal have got Stoke in the cup final. Feyenoord. See, the clubs haven't really commented on us yet. That's the problem. Look at that. Wages to turnover ratio. Ours is the lowest in the league. So nothing's changed at Burnley. Sean Dyche having the same problem in real life. I'm having the same problem here. We're just lucky Neil Dusnik pulled off some brilliant deals when we were doing this in the head coach. Come on, I want job news. I want job news. There's nothing happening. I hate that in the job search when nothing happens for months. We had it one of the transfer specials we did with Salford. And we were trying to get out as quickly as possible. We just couldn't. We couldn't get an offer. I'm a little bit disappointed by this. I'm really hoping we can get a job because we deserve it for the job we've done at Burnley. Don't forget, the board expectations is to avoid relegation each year. We've been in Europe. We've finished in the top half yet again this year. The Italian and Spanish seasons are finishing this weekend, so this might spur some action on. I wonder how Feyenoord are getting on in their qualifiers. It would be a bit of a downer if they're not then in Europe next season, because we'd like to have a one-season wonder with that. Well, I guess it'd make the season quicker for a one-season save. And it'd allow us to focus on the league. Look at that centre-half at Bordeaux. What a player he is. Right, let's go and get an update, shall we? Job security. Firstly, are there any others available? Marseille. I mean, there's not much that would tempt me to France, but Marseille is a club I like. It's not the greatest league in the world, but we'll apply for it anyway. We haven't got any other jobs available. Feyenoord isn't now listed as an insecure job, so I'm guessing that the manager's managed to get them into Europe and he's now safe. Valencia's insecure. Jurgen Klopp, we can have a look at replacing him. So let's go down to Holland. Feyenoord stable now. So he must have got them into Europe. Oh, he's got them to the final. Seems strange. Maybe it'll be insecure again if he loses, but we'll wait and see. Whoppers are PSG still dominant in France? I'll go and have a look in a second, actually. I'm pretty sure someone bizarre won it. Was it Lille or someone who came back and won it again? Paris Saint-Germain. Oh no, I've got the wrong save there. They are very much dominant. So they had the first year actually of this save, which is very strange considering the squad they had. They finished third. But apart from that, they've won it every single year. Kylian Mbappe's still there. Still world class as well at 32. Let's see what happened that first season then. That must have been a strange one. Stages, league table, and 1920. So Lyon won it the first year with Monaco and PSG just behind. How strange. There you go. Didn't expect to see that first season, but everything else was there. Yeah, it might be fun to challenge them. I just wonder if in one season we'll be able to realistically do it. I don't think we're getting a Feyenoord job. They've dismissed our interest. Lotto's still in the job. And now we have to hope he does lose the European final. Otherwise, we're definitely not getting that one. No other jobs popping up just yet. No news even from Carlisle. We haven't had news of a job interview. You'd thought if a Premier League manager who was drastically overachieving went in for a vacant job in the National League North, you're pretty sure they'd get an interview within a couple of days, wouldn't you? But there you go. Really surprised by that. It's just the frustration of hanging on. Surely we'll get something soon. Still nothing from Carlisle. I don't get it. They would be snapping their arm off to interview someone. In real life, what are we talking the equivalent of? Overachieving mid-table in the Premier League. Sean Dyche? If Sean Dyche applied for a National League North job, he would get an interview within an hour. And I'm happy to be told I'm wrong there, but I do not see... Maybe 2 hours, because he might spend the first hour trying to work out if it was a hoax or not. We've got 20 million in revenue there from the Europa Conference campaign. And that's now finished as well. So I wonder if that's changed the job dynamic. No. AFC Wimbledon, that might be an interesting job. They'll be back at Plough Lane by now as well. They have been in the Championship, so maybe not. That's a little bit different. Lille's precarious, another chance in France. But not much else happening. It's going to be difficult. Charlie, maybe they think it's a hoax. Yeah, that's all I can think. But you'd have thought after a week they would have phoned me at least to find out. But yeah, not even a media question about it. It's a bit strange. Still no news. Still no news at all. I am really perplexed by that. Now 29th of May. What's that? Over a week ago. I'm still not the favourite for it. Sam Locke is the favourite. Look at him. Wanted by Bradford City. Why is he the favourite for the job over me? Have I got that bad? Rennes finished 7th. They lost in the Europa Conference final. They've got some really good players, actually. I said that. They've got one really good player. A world-class centre midfielder and then lots of good players. But if I'm going to France, it's got to be to a club that I enjoy watching or that I'm a fan of. And if it's Marseille, if it's Lille, then perhaps yes. But not for Rennes, I'm afraid. And even then, it would still be my last choice, France. So the order here, I think the Feyenoord one's gone. So it's probably either Tottenham or Lazio, then Carlisle, then France. Neil Dusnip sorting out all the coaches here. Is there any other news? We're the 31st of May now. Why have Carlisle not given us an interview? Please. Tottenham's available. Pochettino's odds-on favourite. So I think they've probably got their mind made up there. But there's certainly no harm in us applying. Pochettino could be going back to Tottenham, although that brings the Atlanta job up. So that possibly changes everything. Because Atlanta, they are in Europe. They finished 6th in the league. Their captain's Troy Parrott, a former Tottenham youth player. And a player we've managed in the head coach when we were at Ireland. The key player, Leonard Renard. Wonderkid from Belgium. Yeah, Atlanta could be a job to go for. Shall we see if that final game's been played yet? Let's have a look. Schedule. What date is it if it hasn't? 1st of June. So it's played tomorrow. So that job might be available again then. Atlanta, beautiful kit as well. I'd love to see that one. That's my vote. I did nearly do a short save with them this year because obviously it was their first ever Champions League campaign. You've got to be joking. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. They can't agree compensation. I mean, this isn't going to go well if I speak to Burnley and say, can you reduce it so I can go to Carlisle? Oh no, they have. Right, so Carlisle, now you've got a day to give us a job interview. I'm sorry. The finances are sorted. Let me have the job. I'm offering to come down 5 divisions for a nominal fee to manage your club and get them back where they belong. We'll keep an eye out for this final game as well. 1st of June, it should be being played. And we've also got to start the conversation about what takeaway I should be having for lunch today. Fair play. One day later, Carlisle have given us a job interview. One of the reasons they want an interview is because they feel you'd be a good fit for the club's vision. Not the fact that I'm a Premier League manager. Mainly as a result of your deep commitment to not signing players over 30. Right, so firstly, before I proceed with this interview, I just want to make sure Declan Shields hasn't left, which he hasn't. Let's get down to business. You'd be making a marked drop in stature if you were to join us. Why would you do that? I've managed smaller teams before. Yeah. That's simple enough. Some supporters might not like the fact that you're managing a local rival. You think the fans are going to care that I've come from what you might consider a local rival? Well, there's no real local rival for Carlisle. There might be a rival. It's certainly not local. Let's have a look. I think you might make a mistake. No, I don't want to say that. I mean, none of them really work. I'm just going to say, I hope you can overlook it. Why have you felt acceptable? I think it's acceptable because I've been a manager a long time. And I'm considering my options. I mean, this should be a formality. If I don't get offered this job, it's going to be hilarious. I always meet my expectations. I've always got a good relationship with supporters. Yeah, you can trust me in financial trouble. I'm sure I'll be alright. Do you want to make wide-scale changes? Probably not. No budget for that. I want to finish mid-table next season. Then a year after get promotion. They've got no real ambition at all, have they? But yeah, I'll go for it. Why not? Is there anything else I want to do? I mean, really, I don't want to consider any requests here. I just want to say don't sell Declan Shields. That's all I want to say to them. They must have a senior affiliate already then, do they? Affiliated clubs? No. So why can't I ask for a senior affiliate? Interesting. We'll leave that anyway. They've got to offer me the job, surely. I'd be baffled if I didn't get it. Let's get back to the chat quickly. I never thought that you'd be in a position of having to choose between Atlanta or Carlisle. Let's be honest, I don't know if any of them big jobs will get offered. I just saw there that Feyenoord had won their game. So that job definitely won't be available, I'm afraid. None of the other big Dutch ones are, so it's not going to be that opportunity. But yeah, it's unique, but for a one-season wonder, Carlisle looks like possibly a really good one to have. I'd be intrigued by it. It's the sort of thing you've got to take advantage of. They don't come around too often. These opportunities only really come about very late in an FM cycle normally, so it's a good one for us to have. But we will keep an eye on it. I mean, I'll go and look in a minute. We must be favourites for that job now. And I'll just see if any others have come up or any others are willing to give us an interview. We'll wait and see. To be fair, Gary Johnson dropped down quite a few leagues. Yeah, he was managing in the Championship, got relegated with Yeovil as expected, and then went down to the National League South with Torquay. So I know he went via Cheltenham, but it does happen. I mean, this is a very bizarre one. You wouldn't see a manager applying from a Premier League job to the National League North. It's not realistic, but we've got one season. Let's have a bit of fun. There's an 18-year-old striker there who we could potentially bring in here. We still want to set Burnley up to do well. I don't want to sell him though, which is a problem. We'll scout him again though, just to see if we can get a fee. That guy's 22. That guy's 23 and that one's 21. And there's a 17-year-old here from Bayern Munich. I can't finish. I hate strikers that can't finish. Right, job centre. We're still not favourite for the Carlisle job. Oh my words. There's no other big jobs about, so we'll leave it there. Anything else precarious, insecure? Leicester's insecure, Braga's insecure. I think that's about it for the summer. It's one of the jobs that's currently there, or we're not getting one, I don't think. Charlie, yeah, same anger as me as we talk about lunch. I'm still not over the fact our local chippy ran out of chicken balti pies. Would have been near the top of my list as well. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to go for a German doner kebab instead, but it is what it is. We're skipping through and I'm starting to get concerned. I mean, if we don't get the Carlisle job, I'll be mortified, to be honest. I forgot there's that kid joining in a few days from Motherwell. The young fullback Bar. We needed a right back as well, so he's going to be a good addition to the squad. But that's where we are at the moment, coming towards the start of the transfer window. No job offers, no opportunities. I don't really know what to make of it. What I might do if we get offered the Carlisle job is I'll delay it for a week, and if we don't get a job offer afterwards, I'll do it off camera, the last bit, and then you'll be surprised next week who we're in charge of. Or, if it's not going to be a good job, we'll come back and we'll do the live stream series we'd planned with a different side. As we said, we don't really talk the FM too much, so it's not a huge thing there. Ashley Harrett's been sent off for England under-20s. Fair play to him. There's nothing else, is there? 4th of June now, nothing else at all available. Nothing else really becoming insecure. Look at that. Charlie, you said Barrow, National League North. Antonio Candreva. Jeez. Italian international has gone to the National League North. Suddenly, I'm not going to be the story of the summer in that division. Who would have thought going to Carlisle would pin me up against Antonio Candreva? That, I'll tell you what, that's the headline of this episode, isn't it? Jeez, who thought that was coming? Shock of the day, that one. More job offers going on, but still no news. Why are Carlisle not so keen to have us? Do they think it's too much of a step down? Do they think it's bizarre I want the job? I don't know. What are the reservations? I'd like to know. Long-serving scout Paul Wozni has retired. 66, he was average. It doesn't matter too much. There we go then. Carlisle have approached us at last. They're offering us £1,000 a week, which is a lot of money to be fair. They want us to sign players to sell for a profit. I always sign young players, so that'll work. What I'm going to do is delay it for 1 week. We're going to have a quick look at the job screen and then we're going to leave it here. I'm going to wait 1 more week to see if I get any other interviews or job offers. And then it will be surprise next episode if we're either back with Carlisle for the first day of the season or potentially we'll be starting the other save, depending on how it goes. So there's no other jobs there. We're not favourites for any of the others. We're still not favourite for the Carlisle one, despite being offered it. And now we've got the added bonus, the added spice. We could be coming back to face Antonio Candreva, who's the new Barrow manager. I mean, where that's come from, I don't know. Let's have a look at the North and South, just to see if there's any other big managerial names, really. Morgan Schneiderlin's at Telford. Tom Huddleston's at Chelmsford in the South. Any other big ones in the North? Alex Mowat, the old Barnsley and Leeds player. He's in the National League North as a manager. Which club was he at? He's at Kettering. Dan Potts is at Hemel Hempstead. Don't think there's any other huge names. John Swift at Warrington. He was at Chelsea as a young player. He's played in the Championship for Reading. So Antonio Candreva, Morgan Schneiderlin and Alex Mowat are all managerial rivals in the National League North. It's tempting me into the Carlisle one. But in 1 week's time, we've got to make a decision. So we'll have a look. We'll see if we get any more. But I am afraid, Charlie, yes, I am leaving it on a cliffhanger. Next week, we will either be back with Carlisle for the first game of the season. One of those other jobs that we've applied for and we're waiting in the wings for. So looking there, it was Tottenham, Lazio, Schalke and Marseille. But it doesn't look like we're even going to get an interview. We're not really getting any news from any of them. Or we will be back for the other story we'd started, which I can confirm was with Norwich. We'd gone through the pre-season. We tried to make it a Premier League survival campaign. Couple of good signings in, one Charlie would particularly like. So it will be one of 3 scenarios and you will find out next Tuesday. But thank you very much for joining me, for sticking along for the job hunt, just for being here and getting involved in the chat this morning. I really do appreciate it. Please do put a thumbs up if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed the weekly live stream. And we've got 4 more to go before FM21. And we'll decide next week exactly where we're going to be. Thank you again for your support as always. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you same time next week. Cliftonville back at 4:30 today though.